High grade G-Exes Jackedge.
Hey, what's up again, everybody? Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and I'm here today to wrap up my look at the G-Exes Jackedge, which is going to add some much-needed muscle to Captain Ash's pirate forces in the third generation of Gundam Age. Remember that this is just a remold of the regular high-grade G-Exes. So let's take a look at the different parts and the mobile suit before I give you my final thoughts in this video. Kicking things off here with the regular G-Exes' shoulder here on the left, it's going to have this black seal on the front and back, which is sort of going to set it apart, and a gray part on the inside, which I've just gone out with a little bit of black ink from a Gundam marker there. That's not lighting marker. And you can see that it's going to have this white part down below, whereas when you put these parts on, you are going to have these little rivet-looking parts that if you wanted to paint them up metallic, would look great. You've got lots of lighting opportunities, a little bit wide. The lighting marker is going to do the job well, and if you take a look at these pointy ends, they're going to be going up, which is sort of pirate fitting, I suppose. And they are going to move, and you're going to have that part underneath, which is going to look a little bit out of place. But otherwise, they still look good in the overall visual effect, which is the most important thing. For the weapon, this is going to be identical to the man, the myth, the legends, Wolf Eniackles himself. But you're going to have a lot more fun with this extra part that they're going to be giving you in the form of this very looking, that's not a knife, this is a knife that they're going to be giving you. First of all, you can have this part down here, which is going to detach, so you can put it in hand. Put that in, it's actually going to close up quite well. You do have some lining opportunities, or at least you could put some little bit of lining on there. If you painted this up in metallic silver, I'm sure it would look a lot better. But then you also have the ability to plug this in, and when you do that, you're going to be getting a very satisfying click. And then you can plug it in bayonet style here, and you will notice you get a little bit of a click there, a little bit of movement, but it's going to look a lot more fun and give a lot more substance to this. Especially when you see it next to the advanced grade, you'll notice that the advanced grade is going to have that extra color of blue and a few hollowish parts, but it's when you look at it head on that you actually see that this one is looking pretty much 2D as opposed to the actually filled out one that you're going to be getting here with the high grade weapon. But the biggest difference has to be here with the head. Besides the shoulders, this is what you're really paying for. You're going to be getting some similarities there, as you can see on the sides. You do have a commander's fin sticking out in the wrong direction over there, but it's taking a look at the front, and again, where have we seen that before in Japanese anime? Love the gold eyes there, love the whole skull motif, love the fact that he's got that cool looking helmet up there on the top. It's going to go along really well with the Dark Hound's flat top kind of head there. I wish you could see the eyes a little bit more. The advanced grade seem to have done a slightly better job, but then again, it's going to look so Skeletor-ish that I think once it's on the body, this is all you're going to notice. The final difference when you take a look at the parts is, yeah, that shield is adequate, but what is it really missing? Yeah, the thing that really matters most in a character. And when he's all put together, yes, you can say hello to his little friend, but in terms of the actual colors of the Gundam, well, you're only going to see two of them, except for the golds of his eyes, which you're only going to have to look at a very specific angle to see. He definitely comes across as being very blue as opposed to the black of the Dark Hound. The gray is certainly going to provide a good color there for the inner frame. Just sort of would have been nice if he had a couple more colors, because he's looking very advanced grade-ish. So speaking of which, here he is next to his much cheaper doppelganger. When you're looking at the color apps, he's really not missing all that many of the advanced grade. Down on the toes, there should be a little bit of gray there for the actual feet, but you can see that he's got the waist outside of the front skirts there, and you've got a little bit more gray there. The elbows, everything's covered. The neck, this guy's actually got a little bit more gray exposed than the high grade. The big difference is, of course, going to be the fact that this guy is as stationary as a cucumber, because he doesn't have any mobility except for the arms going up and down and the head moving around there. And this guy's going to have a lot more options, just the fact that he's got that really cool gun and the backpack that are going to allow him to jet all around. Shielded up, here he is next to his doppelganger high grade, his basis of being in terms of the G-Exes here. You can see again that you're going to see a lot more of the two colors, just because the white on gray is going to look a lot more different than that dark blue. Not really setting himself apart. The weapon, though, is going to look a lot cooler thanks to that honking bayonet there at the end. And in terms of the shoulders, I'm going to say that they both serve their purpose on each of them. But in terms of the cool heads, I think that the Edge really... I'm a big fan of the G-Ex's head until I saw this one. Lots of similarities here with the regular Shell doll, although of course this is going to be in lime green variety. So you're going to see a lot more colors there. It's just unfortunate that we don't have a blue Shell Doll Rogue to go and complete the pirate set. But finally, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, at least as a father to Kyo until he showed up, 13 years later, Captain Ash Asamasuno, he of the ponytail, as a young man and later in life as well, as we saw at the end of 49. You can just see here in terms of colors that you're going to have that blue motif going through. It's pretty much identical on the AG and the HG, but with the Dark Hound, that black color, of course, I'd say is going to look a lot more piratey than the blue itself. Just the fact that he's got the tricolors totally inverted, with the multiple grays, the red there, and that little bit of silver, just seems like you're getting a lot more cool color variations, not to mention white seals, that you could be putting on this high grade as opposed to this guy, who does come across as pretty dull, but maybe that's fitting in terms of pirate grunts. In terms of posability and the actual poses you can make, don't forget to check out my full review of the G-Exes. This guy, you're not going to be limited by the shoulders at all. But again, that big looking rifle, no weight issues whatsoever with it. And you may have seen there that it's got a nice gold sticker there on the scope, which is going to be a lot of fun. But it's that bayonet poking forward that's going to set this guy apart and really set the tone in terms of pirate invaders. And remember that you've got the shield, the regular beam sabers, those hip rocket launchers, but really the one that's going to stand out is the gray blade when you take it off. They do tell you that you're supposed to keep this on, or they seem to indicate that on the side of the box anyway. But it looks, I think, a lot better there. Remember that it's actually still made out of two parts there. You don't have to pop that off to put it in hand, just pop off the back of the manipulator. But I think that this guy's just screaming out for a little bit of silver paint, but he's still going to be a lot more fun, I'd say, than the G-Exes in terms of playability, just because of the bayonet / in-hand monster knife option. Which means, in the end, that I think you can look past most of the negatives about this guy. He's got the same pros and cons of the G-Exes, which is pretty much a G1 suit in terms of Gundam Age there, even though he's carried through all the way to the 3rd generation. The lack of color is a little bit disappointing. He's not going to have the awesome custom marks, but he's going to make up for it with the knife and the bayonet and the cool shoulders and that skull-faced head. Well, anytime that you've got a grunt, whether it's a crossbone Vanguard one or not, in something in Gundam Age, it seems very fitting that this guy would be serving under Captain Ash, and he seems like a lot of fun. The only thing that I'd say is that if you wanted to supplement your army just in terms of size, you may want to go with the advanced grade, because with its two colors that are pretty much identical except for the feet, he's got all the color apps. If you could get rid of that skinny gun, he'd be pretty much as good as the high grade if you don't mind not having any mobility. But this guy, between the rocket launchers and the beam sabers and the shield and the weapon and the knife, I'd say that he's a lot of fun. And if you're looking for some pirate edge, it's the kind of thing that makes me wish we'd have a shell doll, which in terms of future speculation doesn't seem like it's going to be in the cards unless it was maybe a premium online thing. But then again, you've got the color guides between the Dark Hounds manual and the Jackedge that I'm sure you could go and paint your own. But what do you think about future releases of this kit? And is it worth picking up when it's essentially just a redo of a kit that we've already been doing since the 1st generation in a couple different minty green white flavors? Anyway, everybody, that's going to wrap up my look at the G-Exes Jackedge in high grade from the unbox to the verdict. Why don't you let me know what you thought of this kit? Well, of course, it's probably going to be based on what you thought of the G-Exes in the first place. And again, check out my full review of that. But in the meantime, don't forget to stick around for lots more news, reviews, and everything else you can use. And perhaps a few more Age recolors will be on their way, either from Bandai, or who knows, maybe here on this channel. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. See you next time. You know, even though I don't have a first mate, I still think he could take yours in a battle. Did he even go out in a mobile suit? Dad, you've got some pretty swarthy friends.